Hey guys, welcome back to our channel and welcome to the 2025 MINI Cooper S Convertible. We're down here in South Carolina and today we're gonna go for a drive with the latest generation of the iconic MINI open top. In this video, I'm going to tell you about the design of the new MINI Cooper Convertible. We're going to talk about the performance and specs. And then, of course, we're going to hit some of these back roads to see how the car really drives. So let's start first with what this car is all about. Codename F67 because it's based on the MINI Cooper Hardtop, the 3-door hardtop. It has a similar size, but then, of course, you can lower the roof if you want to. Speaking of the soft top, it actually folds down in 18 seconds and closes in 15 seconds, and it works at speeds up to 19 miles per hour. Size-wise, the new MINI Cooper Convertible measures 152.7 inches in length, 68.6 inches in width, and 56.3 inches in height. The wheel options range from 16 to 18 inches. Speaking of the size, if you look at the outgoing generation MINI Convertible, even though they're based on the same architecture and platform, this one is slightly larger in size. The driving experience comes from a 2.0-liter BMW engine, of course, and it makes 201 horsepower and 221 pounds-feet of torque. That's enough to take the car from 0 to 62 miles per hour in 6.9 seconds with a top speed of 147 miles per hour. Of course, it's a convertible, so we have to talk about the cargo capacity because that plays an important role every time you have to fold down the rooftop. With the roof up, the trunk offers 7.6 cubic feet of space, which reduces to 5.65 cubic feet of space when the roof is down. There is, of course, a wind deflector behind the front seats, which minimizes the air turbulence and noise. There is also a built-in rollover protection system, which activates instantly if a rollover is detected. Customization-wise, the new MINI Cooper Convertible is available in 12 different exterior colors, including the exclusive Cooper Gray. If you're looking to further customize your MINI, you can pick different colors for the side mirrors as well, for example in glazed white or jet black. So you might be wondering, how is the convertible different from the Cooper Hardtop? Overall, there are many changes other than the obvious design changes, but of course underneath the car, the MINI engineers have worked quite a bit to make sure that this car has the same stiffness level as the Cooper, because of course you don't have a roof and therefore you have also a lower center of gravity. Chatting with some MINI engineers last night, they were telling me that they had to add some additional braces under the floor of the car, which not only brings in more stiffness to the overall chassis, but it also helps quite a bit with steering feedback and the suspension setup. Even though mechanically the cars are identical, I was told that the driving experience should be slightly different. All right, so let's see how the car drives. Of course, power is sent to the front wheels via a 7-speed DCT. It's the same gearbox that we've seen in other MINI products, and of course in BMW cars as well, like the X1 or the X2. There are some nice curvy roads here. The car is quite composed here. Of course, I'm not riding in the Go-Kart Mode yet. We're gonna swap in a second because I wanted to experience the suspension setup in the most comfortable mode, because in the end, this is an open top that you wanna go for very calm and very serene rides, not necessarily to push the car hard at all time. Speaking of that gearbox, there is one thing that I'm not a huge fan of when it comes to this transmission, and I've talked about this in my BMW X1 video as well. There is a slight lag, especially when in the comfort mode, and that suspension setup, it's in the most comfortable setting, because right now, as you can see, if I go to almost a standstill, if I floor the gas pedal, there is quite a bit of a turbo lag, and it's not necessarily because of the engine, it's more like about the transmission. I know that in the past BMW MINI have tried to fix this, but unfortunately when you drive it in comfort mode, you can still feel it a little bit. Now, of course, if you're used to this driving experience, it won't be anything new, but I guess coming from a transmission like a ZF Speed or the previous generation MINI, which used a completely different supplier, then you might be a little bit thrown off by that slight lag when you floor the car. Like even right now, It takes about almost a second before the turbos kick in, before the power gets shifted through the transmission to the wheels and the car takes off. Of course, you can change that driving behavior by going to the experiences mode. So let's do that right now. And we're gonna go into the highest setting, which of course it's the Go-Kart mode. And not only the car stiffens up quite a bit instantly, but I can also feel the steering feedback being a little bit more aggressive. And at the same time, you're getting more engine noise and a little bit of a sharper transmission as well. Speaking of the Go-Kart mode, I guess this is the most important thing to Mini customers. With every new generation, because most of the Minis, they grow in size, like the new Countryman, for example, there is always this concern if the iconic Mini Go-Kart feeling is still there. I've recently driven the MINI Cooper S Hardtop as well, and honestly, I was quite impressed with that driving experience. I expected the Mini to feel quite different in the previous generation, but honestly, I don't feel like Mini has lost its mojo when it comes to the Cooper variants. Of course, in the Go-Kart mode, everything has been sharpened up quite a bit, from the engine noise to the transmission to the steering feedback as well. Even the suspension, it's a lot stiffer than before, and this is why I always say this: if you enjoy driving, if you enjoy the driving dynamics of a car, whether it's a Mini or a BMW, always go into the highest and the sportiest setting, in this case the Go-Kart mode. Not only it changes the character of the car, but it also fixes issues like the previously mentioned transmission lag. The suspension might feel a little bit on the harsher side for some people, especially on uneven surfaces, but honestly, it gives me a lot more feedback from the front wheels. That's exactly what I want from a front-wheel drive car. Even in this highest setting, honestly, it still feels quite comfortable, and I can tell that Mini doesn't want to alleviate customers that they're looking for a very good daily driver as well. Being a fairly small car and of course lightweight compared to other products like the larger Mini Countryman or even the electric variants, of course this car will feel completely different when you drive it. You might not have the instant acceleration of the Cooper Electric, of course, but the driving dynamics reminds you of the iconic Minis. Of course, there is plenty of torque as well, so even if you daily drive this car, it shouldn't be an issue to quickly overtake in traffic. So overall, from the previous generation, there aren't that many improvements when it comes to the driving dynamics. Of course, the car feels a little bit stiffer, a little bit more composed, but overall, it's really kind of the same character. All right, so here's the design of the MINI Cooper S Convertible, of course, just like the Cooper Hardtop, so no major changes there. Same headlights at the front, same minimalistic design. They call it the charismatic simplicity. You can see the simpler shapes overall. And of course, you can see the side view with the foldable rooftop. And if you go to the back, the only change there that you'll notice that the taillights are different than on the hardtop and then on the Cooper Electric as well. Even though it does have the graphics inside that you can customize, it does not have the new design of the taillight. I was told that the interior, so the inner lightings, they're the same. It's just the housing on the outside that's completely different. I guess it was quite complicated to change that. I was told that if I had to change that, they would have to spend additional money to do some reinforcements on the side as well. So this is why you're getting these different taillights on the convertible. And then of course the interior, the same design as all the other new Mini Coopers. Of course, you got these new seats as well, and the round display, and of course you see the wind deflector right there. And even though there is seating for 4, I recommend only traveling with 2 people. So let's continue driving. Here we go. You might have seen a bit of that twitchy go-kart feeling that you're getting from Minis, but it is quite fun. There we go, pushing the car a little bit here, turning in. Very nice. The car does turning nicely, as you can see right here. Nice in turning in, very composed. Okay, so once again, here let's push the car a little bit. Plenty of feedback coming from the front wheels through the steering column. You know, turning in here, braking a little bit late, turning in, so good. I love the body control on this car. I can feel that chassis being stiffened up quite a bit. It's just so much fun. Once again, yeah, at the first glance, the go-kart feeling, it's still there. Of course, it's not gonna be a huge seller like the Countryman or even the base Cooper Hardtop, but I think if you live in a place like California or Florida, for example, and you want to use this as your second car, or maybe even as a daily driver, I think this will be a great addition to your garage. So should I buy the Mini Convertible or should I buy the Mini Hardtop? And this is really such a personal choice because it also depends quite a bit where you live. For example, if I live in Chicago, it might be tough to own a convertible because most of the time we have really cold weather and a very long winter. If you live in Florida or in California, for example, then you should absolutely consider this car because you're not losing much by going from a Cooper Hardtop to a convertible. Of course, there is slightly less cargo space, for example, and that's to be expected. But overall, the driving dynamics, the driving experience, it is quite similar, if not identical. So overall, this is a very compelling product. It's a premium product within the Mini lineup. And in a way, I'm actually happy that Mini continue to offer different variants. A lot of people have been complaining about Minis getting too big, you know, like the Countryman, for example. Now you also have an Aceman, which fits in the spot where the Clubman used to be. So if you're into small cars like I am, then you should be quite happy that you have the choice to buy this car today. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.